And remember how I said earlier that Diddy used to manipulate J-Lo into his little parties? Well, it turns out that word had spread around the industry that he was using J-Lo at these parties. Gene claims there was a time that Will Smith and Jada attempted to seduce J-Lo into hooking up with them. However, Diddy got really upset and threatened to mess Will up if he and Jada went any further. Apparently, he's only okay with people getting intimate with J-Lo when he's the one initiating the freak-off.
Party that I think either Matt Damon was giving for Ben Affleck. It was just a little gathering. They was at the Four Seasons. Will Smith and his sister and her husband, we were all sitting on this side of the room. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, Puff, Will Smith, and Jada, and they was sitting on the other side. He stood up. When he stood up, he walked and did his own some kind of way, like, and then he went like this, like, and I went over towards him. I know to go over there towards him. So I go towards him, and he said to me, he said, yo, I think Will and Jada is trying to scoop up Jennifer. I want you to stay close, because I'm a snuffer.
Now, back to the allegations about Diddy putting his hands on J-Lo. There was also a scene in her documentary where she and a man reenacted a time in her life where her ex was being physically aggressive toward her. The scene was a reenactment of something she actually went through, and she looked visibly troubled during it. When she was asked about the scene, she said, "The idea of the glass house was about how we get into these toxic relationships. You have trauma from your past. You have these patterns you haven't figured out yet, and you get into these relationships where you compromise yourself in ways you never thought you would, or you allow people to treat you in ways that you never thought you would." And baby, she wasn't lying when she said she allowed Diddy to treat her in ways she never thought she would. Cause that's exactly what happened. He pretty much had full control over her. He saw J-Lo as nothing more than a product that he owned. Now going back to Gene Deal, he also said that Diddy would sometimes bring over both men and women in the house that he lived in with J-Lo. There was even a point where he snuck in Kareen Steffans to give him you-know-what while J-Lo was upstairs.
While Jennifer was upstairs, he was down there getting a fillet from her.
Did she ever find out?
She know now.
And you said the female name was Karen?
Yeah, Superhead.
Oh, okay, Kareen Steffans. You gotta say the full name, man.
Yeah, I thought it was her.
But it wasn't just the freak-offs and DV that J-Lo was putting up with. Diddy also made her an accomplice to a crime that he committed, and she's had to carry that secret with her for years. It all happened back on December 28th, 1999, while Diddy and J-Lo were clubbing in New York. They were there to celebrate Shine's soon-to-be-released studio album. At the time, Shine was signed to Diddy's record label, Bad Boy Entertainment, so this was a pretty big deal for both Diddy and Shine. However, things got pretty dark later that night after Diddy bumped into a man named Matthew Allen, who was very popular for his street name, Scar, and accidentally spilled his drink all over him. Even though this was an accident, Scar was not having that, and he started talking to Diddy a little reckless. Now at this point, Diddy also got very upset, and he threw his money at Scar like confetti. There were also reports that Scar was the one who tossed fat rubber band stacks at Diddy, but you get the point. They were both having some alpha off and trying to dominate one another. If you ask me, either way, this had to be a win for the people at the club because they immediately bent over and started grabbing as much money as they could.